The M1 Abrams, main battle tank. The M1 Abrams main battle tank goes back to the 1970s as a replacement for the M60 Patton tank. The tank's origins start with the MBT-70, or Main Battle Tank 1970, a project developed by the United States and West Germany that would produce a more maneuverable and cheaper vehicle than the M60. Development of the MBT-70 went over budget, and West Germany withdrew out of the project, while in the United States, Congress had to be convinced to continue the project in a cheaper and more simplified form as the XM803. This was still too pricey, and Congress pulled the plug on the project entirely. However, as the M60 became more obsolete for the needs of the modern battlefield, Congress ignited the XM1 tank program. In June 1973, the Chrysler Corporation and the General Motors Corporation were awarded a contract to each design a prototype for the XM1. Chrysler's design was chosen in 1976 for development of the M1, later named the M1 Abrams in honor of General Creighton Abrams. The tank would enter service in 1980 and would be manufactured by General Dynamics Land Systems from 1982 after Chrysler were forced to sell their military division. The crew of the M1 Abrams consisted of a commander, a gunner, loader, and driver. The M1 was armed with a 105mm gun, and its upgraded version, the M1A1 Abrams tank, and then the M1A2, produced from the mid-1980s, features a 120mm smoothbore gun. It can fire a variety of rounds depending on the situation, including sabot and high-explosive anti-tank rounds. The turret contains state-of-the-art equipment, a laser rangefinder, a ballistic computer, a gunner thermal imaging day and night sight, a muzzle reference sensor to measure the gun tube distortion, and a wind sensor. The gunner's seat locks him onto the target, stabilizing his aim, regardless of how much the tank is being thrown around by the terrain. The Abrams can engage and destroy enemy tanks a mile away. Secondary armament includes two M240 machine guns, one coaxial within the turret, and one in the front of the loader's hatch. A 50 cal is also mounted in front of the commander's hatch. The tank protects the crew with special Chabram armor, a British invention which uses conventional steel armor and spaced ceramic armor tiles, effective against modern anti-tank weapons. The M1A1 introduced new armor featuring dense depleted uranium sandwiched in between two steel sheets. Most of the armor details remain classified, so that tank crew security and survivability is not compromised. Inside, the ammunition is kept in armored storage compartments so that it cannot harm the crew if it is set off. An air filter system also protects the crew from chemical or biological attacks. The tank has a low profile and weighs 60 to 68 short tons depending on the model. The M1 Abrams has great mobility using its gas turbine AGT 1500 engine, which gives the tank a performance of 42 miles per hour or 72 kilometers an hour on the road, or 30 miles per hour or 48 kilometers per hour off-road. In 1991, during Operation Desert Storm, the world recognized the M1 Abrams' capabilities. The U.S. military would send troops to Kuwait against the Iraqi troops who had invaded and occupied the country. 2,000 M1A1 Abrams were deployed by the U.S. Army and Marine Corps. By the end of the conflict, they had destroyed 2,600 Iraqi armored vehicles. Not one Abrams tank was destroyed by the enemy. The 9 Abrams tanks that were destroyed were by friendly fire or on purpose by U.S. forces if damaged to prevent their capture. The deadliness and quiet operation of the M1 Abrams tank has earned it such nicknames as the Beast, or Dracula, and the Whispering Death. The Abrams continues its service in the present day by the U.S. military, and we'll see a new version, the M1A3, in the future. Subscribe and click the notification bell for more history videos. Hey, Simple History fans! Thanks for watching. If you're looking for a way to support the channel and help us create more epic content, consider checking out our Patreon page. You can see upcoming episodes before anyone else and continue to feed your hunger for history. Thank you for being part of this amazing community.